What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Now then, in this one I'm going to be talking about the items that you 100% absolutely need in your BMW. So let's get cracking. Okay then, so we are going to start in the trunk, and to begin with, this is absolutely optional. This is just my steering wheel lock. This is just a bit of extra security. I just keep that in the trunk when I'm not using it, so we'll get that out of the way. And now we'll start with the items that I believe is absolutely essential to carry around with you at all times. And I'm actually going to start off by lifting this up and hooking that on there, just like that. Okay then, so now we have access to everything that I need to show you guys then. So first thing, probably the most important thing, is the spare wheel kit. So then, as standard, my car, which is a BMW E65 series, did not come with a spare wheel kit. And I know most BMWs today do not actually come with a spare wheel kit. Now, believe it or not, it was actually an option on this car, but whoever had this car from new did not choose a spare wheel kit to come with it. It actually came with an optional extra luggage compartment. I think it had like a netting with little different compartments that you can store some items in. But I got rid of that completely. I just think it's so pointless. You may as well have something that's actually useful. Okay then, so this kit consists of a 17-inch spare wheel, which is, it's not the skinniest of wheels, but obviously it's nothing compared to the size of these things that are on the car at the moment. But it is a spare wheel nonetheless. It will do the job. If you get a puncture, you know, you can stick this on and it'll get you to wherever you need to be with this in place. The spare wheel kit also consists of this little foam insert which keeps everything in place. This little I don't even know what you'd call it, kind of like a bracket to keep it tied down to the bottom of the car. It comes with a jack, and this is, I believe this is a jack actually from an E46. Yeah, so this is from a 3 Series E46, but they are all the same as long as it is a BMW jack. Still does the same job. That pad there sticks into the jacking point on this car, so that is all good. What else do we have? We have a genuine BMW chock. Obviously you stick this underneath the wheel to stop the behind the wheel to stop the car from rolling. And then we also have a wrench. Now you may be thinking that does not look like a genuine BMW wrench. Now you would be correct, because I do not have standard BMW wheel bolts. I actually have a wheel stud conversion, and these nuts are in fact 19mm nuts, apart from that one which is a locking wheel nut, which I'll get onto in a little bit. But yes, these are 19mm nuts, so it means that I had to get another wrench with a 19mm socket on it, so that's why I've got that. Obviously the standard wrench is just a 17mm, which wouldn't do the job at all. So that is the spare wheel kit then. Bear in mind you can buy this kit complete, but I didn't actually do that because I actually already had a spare wheel. I just bought this foam insert, which is a genuine BMW part, and I bought the jack and then the chock and then this little bracket here, and then obviously I bought the wrench with the socket separately as well. So that is the complete spare wheel kit. Like I said, you can buy it all complete, but if you do need some different things, like for example the wrench, then you may just be better off buying it separately. So that's the spare wheel kit then. Next thing that I would say is a good thing to carry in the car with you is a HighVis jacket. You know, if you break down on the motorway or on the highway and it's dark, it's a good thing to wear that. You know, if you need to walk anywhere near the highway, anywhere near a busy road, it's a good thing to have that in the car. You know, last thing you want is to be run over because you're not visible to other road users. So it's a good thing to have one of them in the car, and it, you know, it's literally no weight, so it's a good thing to have one of them. Next thing I would say you should carry is, you may be wondering, what the hell is this? It's actually an air compressor or a pump, whatever you want to call it. But this just means that you actually have the ability, see I'm doing this one-handed, you actually have the ability to inflate your tyres if they go flat. So if for whatever reason one of your tyres loses pressure, you can now inflate it with the tyre inflator. So it's a good thing that you should carry this around with you always, because you may be hundreds of miles from home and you may not have access to an air compressor. So it's definitely worth carrying one of these. Also, you may find that most of the time when it comes to fitting your spare wheel, that the pressure is actually too low and it actually does need pumping up. So with this, it means I can plug it into one of my 12-volt sockets. So I actually have one here in the boot, or I have like, I think there's like 2 more in the car. So there's one in the front and then like one in the rear, and that just plugs right in there. Another thing that I'd recommend carrying with you in the car at all times is one of these, okay? So it's just a quick fix tire repair, and it's essentially just a foam spray. Now obviously if you get a puncture, best thing you can do is stick the spare wheel on. But what about if you get 2 punctures? Pretty unlikely. I don't think I've ever had it happen to me. It's usually just the one wheel. But what about if you did have 2? Say the 2 rear wheels went out, okay? Obviously you can stick a spare wheel on, but with the other one, what you can do, how this foam actually works is you let all of the air out of the tire, so you pretty much get the pressure down to 0, and then you squirt all this stuff in, and then what you do is you just inflate your tire to the regular PSI, and then this should, I say should, it obviously depends how badly damaged the tire is, this should hold you for as long as you need to get a new tire. Now I haven't used this myself, but I've had family members that have used this and it has actually worked before, so it's definitely worth carrying this for the sake of, I don't know how much this costs, I'm pretty sure it's only about £5 or so, but for the sake of this, it's definitely worth carrying in your car just in case you need it. And probably one of the last and most important things that you need to carry with you at all times is a fire extinguisher. Now you may be thinking, well, when am I actually going to be using a fire extinguisher? Believe it or not, I've actually been in a situation where I wish I would have had one of these. It was a good few years ago now, actually in my first car. I was driving down the M1 and I just noticed that the oil pressure light came on. So as soon as that came on, I had to pull right over onto the hard shoulder, turn my engine off as quick as possible, because obviously there's a number of reasons why you are losing oil pressure. Usually it's because there is a leak. Believe it or not, there was actually a massive leak. I had oil squirting everywhere, all over the exhaust manifold, and my engine was actually on fire. So I didn't have a fire extinguisher, I just had to use what I had, and at the time I think all I had was like a tiny little bit of water, and then after I poured that on, it was still like on fire. All I had was like some energy drinks, so I like got them out of the boot of the car and then I tipped all that all over my engine, and they did actually manage to put it out. So if I didn't have them, then I could have lost my car, because you know, by the time you ring the fire brigade, you know, then they have to get to you, you know, your car could be gone. So you don't want to be losing your BMW just for the sake of you not carrying a fire extinguisher. And obviously, you know, you don't really want to go through the process of having to make a claim on your insurance either. So yeah, it's definitely worth carrying. Even if you don't use it yourself, you may be in a situation where you know, you might be behind someone, or you may spot someone that is in need of a fire extinguisher, and therefore you can then give it to them. So yeah, it's definitely worth carrying a fire extinguisher around with you at all times. Okay then, so we're just going to pop this down then, which actually contains the first aid kit, and it contains a few other things as well. So we do have the first aid kit, which is a must. You should always carry some form of first aid kit, because you never know where you are, you never know who may need some medical attention, whether or not you are trained to give that medical attention. It's always best to have, you know, some plasters, some bandages, and whatever else is in here as well. Now, as you can see, it's never been opened, and hopefully that stays the case, but it's always good to have this nonetheless. A warning triangle as well. Obviously, if you are broke down on the hard shoulder, you can place this a good 200 or 300 yards behind you, and it just gives the rest of the traffic a little bit of warning, so they don't end up plowing into the back of you. And obviously we have the towing eye as well. No need to explain what that is for. We have the locking wheel key, and locking wheel nut key, should I say. And obviously this is used for my locking wheel nuts. And then we also have some spare, or 4 spare wheel nuts as well. So obviously if you have wheel bolts, you can replace these with wheel bolts, but it's also always a good idea to carry these around with you in the car, because you never know when you may lose a wheel bolt or a wheel nut. So it's good to have some spares with you. Okay then, so that is the items that I recommend carrying in your BMW at all times. I hope this has been somewhat insightful. I know it's been like a little bit different to what you usually expect on this channel, but I hope you have enjoyed it nonetheless. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below. Give this video a like, subscribe if you have not already done so, and I'll see you guys in that next video. Peace!